how much CPU usage would the architect have to turn off
Right.
for your view of the simulation? Can he go down to like 70% and of the CPU capacity used on you, and you would still think it's real?
No, but what you're saying is actually a real thing. From my medical background,
Yeah.
all the sensory information that goes into your brain, except for smell, has to go into our brain called thalamus. It suppresses about 80 to 85% of sensory information that goes in. So here we are again.
Yeah, we're chilling.
Another day, another dollar.
Well, technically, first real actual podcast.
Oof. All right, break it up. You had a story to tell me. You called me, a couple days ago. He said, listen, I have a crazy idea, different idea for the podcast. I'm like, give me something. And you were like, no, there's no content that we're going to waste on the phone. We're going to drop it all here. First content. So.
There was an interesting discovery that happened. I don't want to lie. I think it's a month now that it happened. Basically, there's these ancient scrolls, and if we had the AI right now, I would totally use it right now to recall. But there's these ancient scrolls that were from this from this library, I believe, I don't want to lie, but I think it's Rome.
Okay.
There are thousands.
It's not Dead Sea Scrolls.
No. It's like, what's it called? Library of Alexandria and like all those like 1,000-year-old scrolls. They're all burned, right? All those libraries. There's this one library, and I forget what its name is, but
in Constantinople, was it a?
I have no memory of this.
Yeah, but regardless,
it's a burned scroll.
Okay.
It looks like a piece of charcoal, like a log almost.
Okay.
Right? It's just burned up completely.
Can you read what's written on it?
No, and if you were to try and open it, it would just fall apart.
It would just fall apart. Okay.
Yeah, it's just complete charcoal basically at this point. But there's still ink on it, right? There was originally ink on it. So
it's like when you burn a regular newspaper and you look at the ashes, before you step on the ashes, the lead ink you can kind of still see on the completely burned
but here
paper.
you can't see it. It's just technically on a molecular level, it's still there.
Okay.
It just looks like a burnt log, basically. These AI researchers scanned it in this way where they call it, like, I believe 3D unraveling or unwrapping. They scanned it, and it's like an X-ray of it, so it's like you could see the layers. It's almost like a tree trunk where you could see the scroll's layers, and it's like a X-ray of it, right? So you could see through it. And they sent it into an AI, which, because AI is like thousands of times better at recognizing patterns than we are.
So they ask it to read or try to write what's written on a scroll.
Yeah, so they were able to figure out what's written on the scroll using AI to reconstruct and detect patterns of where the lead was actually originally put.
And
the idea goes further than that. Okay?
I hope so. What's the damn idea?
There's another research. There's another group of researchers that have been basically able, and I think I actually sent it to you. They were able to reconstruct images of basically, okay, let me explain it differently. They showed a person an image, right?
Okay.
Let's say an image of mountains with goats, right?
All right.
This person looks at this image and they put this person into an MRI machine, right?
Okay.
To take an MRI brain scan. They send this brain scan into an AI they developed
Okay.
that looks at the brain pattern
The way the brain firing
like
during the
and what is lighting up, what
Uh-huh.
what they take that information. I mean, that AI has been trained on a lot of data of people's like brain scans, basically.
Okay.
They take that information of this brain scanned AI that like
Right.
and send that information into a image AI. You know how like there's image. I think your kid used image.
Yeah, we
AI
use
for the book.
Yeah.
You guys made a book and you guys used image AI for it. So basically, it with this process, they're able to recreate the image that they showed the person
To a
originally.
person from
Like-
the brain waves that
Yeah,
was recorded
I mean-
through a brain scan or
Yeah.
MRI. and stuff.
Yeah, obviously.
How
like,
close was it?
I'd say. Like,
I mean, obviously, it would not be identical.
no, it's not identical.
but it would be something
and
in
it's
a.
an AI looking image. You could see it's an AI image, right? But
Is it still a mountain
yeah, it's
and a goat?
It's still a mountain and the goats. It maybe it'd be mountains and horses, or
Right.
or like
But it's weird at the very beginning stages of
the mountains maybe not the same shape as on the actual image. They may be a little different, right? But the like
And that's a step one.
the context is there, right? The context isn't carried through perfectly, but the context is staying throughout. You know?
It's. It could be used in many different ways. It could be used to, let's say this project develops, and actually I heard on a different podcast, I heard that they did something similar to it, and first time I heard about it, I freaked out because unfortunately, me coming from ex-USSR, and every time that I think of new development like this, unfortunately my mind is trained to see not how it will help the humanity, but how can it be used to extract your thoughts. This is the very first step, the beginning of processing it, and as this process goes further and further, the images will become more clear, and it's not going to be just an image. It could be a pattern of thoughts, that can be used during interrogation on Guantanamo Bay. So, I mean,
No, for sure. I mean, obviously, the first thing that Twitter goes to, everyone on Twitter is like, oh my God, imagine how cool it'll be to wake up and watch back the
dreams
that you just had and be able to show people like, this is like what I was dreaming
those
about.
people called dreamers because people who develop it, they dream of very different things.
I don't know. I was thinking about, obviously.
I see several different directions, several different vectors that it can take. And some of them are very, very positive. Let's say person is in coma, or we need to retrieve certain very valuable information, and person lost the ability of speaking and writing, and you need to come into the brain and get this information. So that could be used in very kind of helpful way to the society, and maybe a fun way, as you're talking about doing dream. There's so many times that I wake up in the morning and I have this incredible, phenomenal dream, and I'm like, oh my God. Even in the dream, I'm like, when I gonna wake up? I just gonna write it down because it was so amazing. And you wake up, and by the time you went to the restroom and you took a leak, it's gone. I'm like, what was it? It was so cool. But this is projects like this takes a lot of money, a lot of effort, a lot of resources, working hours, and everything. So obviously, when it's finished, it will be sold to the highest bidder because those people were working on it not for nothing. They were getting paid, they spent, the company was working. So the question is,
what is it?
Who's the highest
What's the
bid?
product?
What's the product and who's the highest bidder? And it can be used like watching the dreams. That's really awesome. But it's actually a movie. I think it was in 1994. It was called Strange Days. And the movie was about, so I think it was called a squid. It was a thing you put on your head, which has a little electrodes. It's almost like when you do a brain scan, little thing attached to your head. So you put it on, and then you have an experience. It could be jumping with a parachute from the plane, robbing the store, having sex, memory. No, people use it for very different way because it was on the black market in the movie. And all this experience was recorded, through the brain patterns in your brain.
Yeah.
And then it was dropped on at the time it was like a little disk drive.
Okay.
And the black market was people were selling the experience through this drive. So you go home, you put this thing on, and in the movie, the guy who was trying to push the product on the market.
So you basically get to experience other people's.
You get experience
other people's experience,
not just visually. It will stimulate your brain. So if the person is touching themselves, or if it gets hit by a bullet, you will feel that physical pain because it will activate it's a full emergence into the experience.
So you're buying other people's experiences, basically.
Fully.
Okay.
The way they experience it with the whole body.
Yeah.
And the way the guy sold it, one of the first clients, the guy just recorded 18-year-old girl taking a shower. And he put it on the guy's head, and he was looking as his 18 years old girl, taking a shower. And, obviously in the movie, it went really, really crazy because it went like a snuff. You know what snuff is? Let's not talk about it. But a crazy
this
killer.
took a turn.
Yeah. It's a killer was recording it, but he would record it. He would put, as he was torturing the victim, he put this on her. So it was like he experienced her pain as he would. There are sick people out in the world. So what I'm trying to say, selling experience, it's an amazing thing. For example, I want to go to Hawaii and I'm working very, very hard. And I want to be this morning on the beach, running along the sand and splashing in the water. So instead of me flying to Hawaii, I download the experience, put it on, take a day of work, and it's like me went to Hawaii and hear the birds and the waves and everything. But this is, one spectrum, like a sunny type of daytime of a spectrum.
But I think wishing for that is wishing for when you're a kid for like a tablet that will teach you algebra. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also, I don't think it'll turn that way. Not only because I just don't think it's possible. At least for now.
We're very close. If this was done, and this is step one,
utilizing
AI.
This no. But I think you're confusing two things. You're confusing output with input. Okay.
How different is it?
It's quite different. Okay.
Let's just put it this way. When your brain fires this way, right? The AI knows it's mountain, right? For example, so imagine for the next 5 years, they have a group of 1,000 people and they start creating library. Like this is how
okay,
your
you're
brain
talking more Neuralink type of style.
Neuralink type, but this is very similar to it, because you can change the output to the input. You put the electrodes on the person's head, and you're gonna activate the centers that in your mind will produce images of the mountain and the ghost.
Elon Musk talking about on it was one of, I forget what podcast it was on, but he was talking about basically there was this experiment where this woman who had some kind of disability or something
Okay.
got a button basically, and this button, again, don't remember the exact story, but somehow it was linked to her basically coming, and
To her coming meaning ejaculating.
Yes.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Having an orgasm,
Yeah.
not ejaculating.
Yeah.
It's a woman, but some people say women can ejaculate. That's a different story. For the different podcast. Very controversial. But
different website.
okay, so every time you would press the button, you will experience an orgasm.
Yeah, and she just, there was basically,
She would not eat, she would not
wouldn't
sleep.
she would not stop. She would just,
Would you?
there was an experiment.
Would you?
I don't know. I haven't been there. Have you?
Actually, this is how they test if the substance, like when they introduce the drug, is addictive or not. They give the substance to a rat, and they give it's a 2 buttons. One is for food, one is for the substance. And if the rat keeps on coming back and it chooses the substance over the food, and it completely ignores the food after a while, then it's addictive and it goes into a particular group of addictive substances.
With weed, you would be hitting both buttons all the time at the
Food, no, there will be a pattern. You hit food, then joint. Food, joint. No sleep, nothing. Eat, get high. So the question is like where this idea leads us, or what's the future for it, or
let's go back to the main subject. The idea for this is we are so close with basically the output of our consciousness into readable, into a completely digital, let's say, library we could curate.
Okay.
What is to say that we aren't in a simulation, right? At this point, right? Before, the argument was that...
Whoa. Bring back to the simulation. Because
Yes.
that was kind of a sharp turn to a simulation topic. One more time. So we are so close with the output of our brain that we can create a digital simulation of your brain, like a head of Professor Dowell.
Yep.
It was a sci-fi book written in the beginning of probably 20th century or something like that, when only head was kept, and there was a way of recording. The head was talking, the body was gone, but it was a sci-fi story by, I forgot who was the writer. But anyway, so you trying to say still that we live in a very complex simulation, and with rising of AI and this type of technology, we are gaining forward, but also we realizing that we are a part of something's game simulation, or
besides I think more people coming to terms with that, or at least from my perspective, I don't know. Everyone has their own idea. Grain of salt, right?
Grain of salt.
But besides that, I think we are in the midst of building the next layer, right? So we are at our own layer of simulation, and we are building the next one.
Do you think the architect will not get pissed off?
I don't think so, because the architect itself is most likely a simulation layer.
When in Bible they say you are made in the image of God. So if the God is a simulation, that you are just a simplified version of that simulation.
Yeah. I mean, just exactly how...
Hold on. That it doesn't glue together well.
Why?
Okay. Unless you start thinking of multiple layers of simulation.
Yeah.
That's
what I'm talking about.
Hold on.
I'm talking about layered simulation.
I have a killer idea. Not even an idea. And I wish we had an AI friend with us today to double check, little fact checker. But I do believe in Kabbalah. It's a mystical study in Judaism. And it relates to energy, the way energy, with the healing. It's a mystical part. Every religion has its kind of a mystical part that normally only being interpreted by higher priests who are trained to deal with this. But the point that I'm trying to say is in Kabbalah, there are 11 layers. Let's call it 11 layers to simulation.
Okay.
11 layers of your soul development. First 3, if I'm not mistaken, you do in this form. When you have a physical body.
I know Kabbalah. I understand. I think you're confused.
And then, no, hold on.
Okay.
But then, once you finish with the third, you lose the body. But the simulation continues. You go on a level when you don't require to have a physical body. It's done on an energy level. And there's another 9 levels of simulation where the body is not needed anymore. Like this particular primitive layers of simulation is designed to develop your, let's say, consciousness or whatever it is, that it can work on a higher level of simulation without having this body. So imagine, coming back to what we were just talking about, God made us in its own image, but somebody had to create God. It didn't create, like, who was the father of the architect?
Right, that's the theory behind the layered simulation theory, is that it goes on, right? So,
but it goes on indefinitely?
There's a creator for a creator.
Is it infinite?
Well, there has to be a baseline reality, right? Correct?
Unless we're gonna go into a quantum physics for a second.
Okay.
There is such thing. It's called a bubble theory. You know how most of the scientists right now agree that our universe came up from what it's called Big Bang.
Yeah.
It was a moment of singularity where it was nothing before. There was no time, no matter nothing. Yeah. And then it was the moment where everything started expanding instantly. The mass, the time, the energy, the forces that we have. And it continues to expand, and it creates our universe. It creates a bubble. Like there was nothing before you start blowing up the balloon.
Right.
And then you start blowing the balloon, and the balloon just keeps expanding, just like our universe still keeps expanding. We measure distance between the stars, and we know that we're still in the process of balloon being blown up. So the bubble theory goes how those universe are being born, there are many different bubbles. And when they touch each other, it creates that spark that gives birth to another bubble.
But where are these bubbles in
They
space and time? That's always the problem, right? It's like nothing can come from nothing, right?
The time
Something
is very...
cannot come from nothing. Something cannot come from nothing, and that's the problem with the simulation theory. Not really okay, there is an explanation for it, but the baseline problem for like the Big Bang theory is like, okay, but where was this, immense amount of energy and matter and everything before the Big Bang? Where this, if it was...
No. I can see the similarity. You know what the black hole is? Black hole.
Yes.
Not what you're thinking about, like in space.
Yeah. That's more your thoughts, but okay.
That's gonna be added
that's
to...
going in your grain.
Maybe not.
That's
My black grain of salt.
That's going in your grainy thoughts.
But anyway, so what is black hole? Which is very important for what we are talking about right now. So the matter is so condensed that it has such a incredible amount of gravity. We're talking about like millions and millions of tons in a square millimeter. And it creates such a strong gravitational pull, that it even bends the light. That's why light falls into the black hole. If it travels as a particle and not as a wave, the particle would be attracted by the gravitational force of the black hole. And if it gets anywhere near what is called event horizon is a certain distance from the center of the black hole. Nothing in our universe can withstand the gravitational pull of the black hole. So all the matter, everything will collapse. The time, the space continuum, everything collapse, and it just creates more and more and more and more mass. And in the middle of the black hole, maybe it will be a matter the size of a golf ball or basketball that swallows stars.
Right, and where is that golf ball?
No. Imagine. Now, this is called feeding black hole. So it travels and it eats up the matter in our universe. But imagine everything started with a basketball, which was not a basketball in the court, but a ball of matter, which was so condensed, and then it just blew up. And when it blew up, it created all our universe. And now...
I agree. I understand.
Who put the basketball on the court?
No.
Or what?
Where is the court? Where?
Right. Like, where is our universe? Where is beyond?
No, but like... Look. Imagine this is the basketball.
Right.
That's... The Big Bang is about to, pop. Right? Before it pops, where is this ball?
Okay.
Where is it located? There's no space and time yet.
Okay. Time is very different thing. How we measure time.
Right.
So
time.
Let's eliminate time.
Time
does not exist
because time is. I think it's quite a relative thing.
Time doesn't exist.
Yeah.
We choose to measure the time in relationship to speed of light.
Yeah.
So, if we, let's say, if the no, it's going to be very complicated. We choose to measure time in a very specific way.
Yeah.
That's why when we talk about space and time continuum, for us, we're looking at it in a very linear way. but it doesn't have to be linear. The space and time can be fold, and we notice that the time doesn't travel equally for all of us. For example, for astronauts on an orbit,
Yeah.
time goes a little bit different. I'm not
Let's,
sure.
Let's eliminate time.
Time is gone.
Where
Space.
is it in space?
Space.
That's the same look. This is the same exact problem as where's the base reality in simulation theory, right? This is a simulation and it's layered, right? So we're building our own layer below us. We are a layer, and we know that there's a layer above us that made us. Go all the way through the layers to the base reality. Where did it come from?
I believe that our perception of space is also very, very limited. Because at the beginning, not at the beginning, up till very recently, we thought that space is also kind of linear, just like time. You can travel south, north, and this is, it's three-dimensional space.
Yeah.
But we know that physics said that space could be folded or unfolded. And for example, no.
Wait,
hold.
There's a couple forks here. Hold up, quick fork off.
Okay, you'll take the first.
There is my idea, and I don't know if this is echoed by anyone else, but I think I definitely, like, my brain is definitely taking this from somewhere. I don't think this is an original idea, but I believe that we call it, some people call it God, some people call it, we like to call it architect or entity, whatever made this layer, right?
Okay.
That we live in, this reality. For us, space is three-dimensional, so, XYZ. But for the layer above us, I believe that space also, it's there. You get a fourth dimension added. It's a layer above. And because of that, space is time, right? So it's another axis that you could go on.
I'm gonna give you a really cool analogy that will cripple your space and time continuum for the next couple of minutes. But it will be easy to understand. The analogy will be easy.
Before your analogy, what do you think of what I just described to you? Just to respond to it, I think
that our perception of space and time is linear and three-dimensional, and for the architect, it has different way of looking at space and time.
No, it's just the fourth dimension. You go a layer up.
Right.
The fourth dimension, because there's a fourth dimension up there.
Yes.
The fourth dimension that gets added is the axis of time. So you have the XYZ throughout space as we know it,
right.
But you also have the axis of time.
Okay.
Which basically allows you to go XYZ, but also, let's call it V, right?
And it takes a certain amount of time to travel on that axis.
Yeah. I don't know. It might be
okay.
I don't know what the rules are. I don't know what the laws are.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I can move through the XYZ axes differently than my dog can or a cheetah can, right? So it also depends. No, because
everybody who acquires
speed-wise.
No, okay.
A cheetah can run faster than
I must bring this analogy because it goes 100% with what you're saying.
Let's go.
So this is going to be really, really cool. You're going to enjoy it. We used to record the music on an LP. The black little round things, LP.
Okay.
So it's very simple. On one side, let's say it was 2 songs, and maybe another song on the other side of the LP. So what you do, you take a needle and you put it on a track, and the needles start traveling, and the song is being played, right?
Okay.
And so this is you traveling through your life. There is a track written around the record, and the needle is you that is running this track. And there is a different parts of the song. There is a mellow part of the song when you're born, then it goes rock and roll, and then it's whatever. But you are a needle on this life expanse. And you can only go X, Y, and Z direction are compressed in the groove that needle is running by. It's a linear, still linear.
Okay.
Even X, Y, and Z is linear. But then comes an architect and he said, you know what? This part of the song is boring. And he picks up the needle and he puts it further in the record. In order for you who runs the needle, it will take 3 minutes of the song to get to that point. For him, it takes less than a second.
Well,
because it travels not linear,
of course,
as on the round.
Yeah.
So this is where for us is very different to understand.
Sorry, quickly, that goes right into the idea of bending time to, space travel.
I believe it's exactly the same. We're still seeing the world in a linear vector. This podcast, this communication goes linear.
For sure.
You talk, I talk, listener listens. Give me 1 second.
Fundamentally, we are linear creatures.
Not quite. I will disagree on that.
Okay.
Your dreams are not linear and are yours. For example, you have to go to work. You wake up in the morning, alarm goes on, and you have that little button on alarm. It's called snooze.
Yeah.
This is your time machine. You hit the snooze, you go to sleep, and you know that snooze is for 10 minutes or 7 minutes, and it will run again. But in this 7 minutes, you will see dream that took years. Maybe not years, hours.
Yeah.
Very, very long dream. Full physical contact and experience, and like a vivid dream. And then it goes again. You will come up, you hit it again, fine. You cannot hit it again because you have to go to work. You just stop it. And as you go to take a leak in your restroom, you're like, how's this possible? I just saw a 3-hour dream in 7 minutes. Full immersion. You travel across the world. You talk to people. You have full conversations. 7 minutes. Hours of conversation. Verbal communication. No, stay with me. Stay with me. Verbal communication is linear. I heard stories, and I read it in a lot of literature, that some guru, some people who train in energy, the way they can share the information with you is, put your hand right here. They will say, okay, I don't have hours and hours of explanation. Let's take a dive. And when he hits your hand, this is a snooze.
Okay.
And he downloads, just like when we started with MRI, our conversation. He downloads all this data, experiences, in a matter of seconds, non-linear.
Okay,
So you can have it all in a matter of seconds to experience lifelong experience.
So is that the product instead of you wait,
We should make a product like that.
you know how humans
Matrix,
for-
learn math, 30 seconds. Jiu-jitsu, 30 seconds. Please speak. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no worries. I want Matrix. I want Matrix. No, like the cool stuff, not the actual like. Movie.
No, in Matrix you will be. You know
just
what? Bring me the fucking steak. I need the steak. I don't need any of this killing and stuff. Can I get a good steak? A house by the ocean? Do me the steak.
No, I'll get.
No, really? You'll be the one unplugged
I'll unplug. I want to learn some cool jujitsu.
and then plug back again. I forget about it.
just have all the cool shit.
Can I unplug for half an hour, download all the software, and back into reality? Not actually back into Matrix.
Wait,
Okay.
my question was, is that the product, right? So
The
look,
product is what? Life
Look,
is the
listen,
product?
Wait, that's a rhetorical question.
What's the product?
For all of, as long as I can remember, I think the top one thing that humans want is extension to their lives, right?
No. You sick of cancer? Do you want to continue?
No. Like an actual, like, obviously, like, healthy, happy experience, but like extension of a good life. Like, obviously, good life goes without saying.
More work?
Everyone wants a good life, but besides that, you want like the longer the possible, right? If there was,
But do you have to work? So you want to work instead of 60 years, like 300 years?
No. Look,
before your retirement?
Look, good. We put all of the aspects of the life, like we just say it's a good life. We put all the aspects of the life aside.
So you want to be happy for as long as possible?
Do you want to be on this earth for 30 years, or do you want to be on this earth for like 200 years?
It depends on the experience.
I
Do I want to sit in jail for 200 years? Or I want to
I said
sail private planes?
We put aside that it's a good life. Like, it's a good life, no questions asked, right? Do you want to be here with a good life 30 years, 200 years? What's the choice?
Have you ever seen a movie Interview with the Vampire? You have not.
I haven't. No.
Have to watch with the Brad Pitt. Obviously vampires, right? So live for forever and have an amazing life. You don't die.
Everyone knows living forever is horrible.
So you would not choose to live forever, but for like 300 years is okay.
I think so.
What about 150?
Sure. Like I'll take anything above what my current lifespan would be, and I don't think it would be 150.
And
I
that
don't
will
think
be
we're there yet.
okay.
Hopefully.
What about getting a flu in the winter? Would you choose that in that 150 years?
Look,
Or breaking a leg? Skiing?
I'd rather, yeah, all of this is human experience, and I'd rather live through it than not.
But when you say I want to live through good life includes pain?
Sure, like, yeah, if you're skiing,
And suffering and
if you're
everything?
skiing and you fall, you still break a leg, and you gotta, like, if you're.
What about if you ski a fall and you break your spine? Now you cannot move, but you live in the Hugh Hefner house, and the girls are there all the time.
Either way, the point is every billionaire is working towards somehow, either there's a bunch of things. Some are trying to preserve their bodies. There's like even like ways that you could like, what's it called?
Stephen Hawking, Epstein Island, forever.
You could put your body into this like vat, basically. That's like, it freezes you, and there's this company that.
Oh, they've been doing it forever.
They promised
Cryo-freeze.
Yeah. Once we figure it out, we'll unfreeze you, and
We figured it out actually on frogs, but on humans we can't. So they put it. They can freeze you forever and wait until we get to the point where for God's sake, your cancer and something. We found the cure. Yeah. So now they can refreeze you back, put it in the microwave, press defrost, back to reality, and
that's the promise side topic. But the idea is there's a lot of projects like this, and a lot of billionaires are very, very interested in this. Basically preserving themselves past.
For what?
to return to be
And-
able
and
to,
do what?
or there's a lot of other projects to just extend their lives just so they could be on this earth for long, just like any way possible to get like more years on this earth, right?
Not gonna work. No. Okay, no, it's impossible that everybody on this planet will be rich.
No. Hold up. That's the problem, right?
So
And
robots will be working for us.
Hold up. Listen, that's the problem.
Okay.
But wherever there's a problem, there's a solution.
Oh, all right.
Where we wanted to go to the moon,
Okay.
now we have an iPhone in our pocket that we could watch a show about the moon, right?
Okay.
We have the internet instead of going to the moon, right?
It's slightly different.
I mean, now we're trying to go back and we're doing stuff, but you know what I mean, right? Like we kind of like instead of doing the really cool stuff, we're making the 15th, 16th iPhone now, right?
It's sad.
but here's the what's it called? Here's the point. That's the product, right? Experiences, and
But experiences were quite extremely limited. So the product becomes very limited.
fuck the experiences could be made by AI or however else we want to. We don't have to take real human experiences like that movie. It's experiences that let you plug in. You have this like dream-like thing for 3 hours, but it's actually three minutes.
Okay.
And you go on with your basically it's a way that's the product I'm talking about. It's a way to extend your life but not extend it, right? It feels like you extend it because time is linear, right?
So if you can download more experience in your life, you feel like you live longer even though you lived your
perception becomes that your time is not linear anymore. For each person there's a new strand of time based on how much experiences they can
I just thought of something cool and really, really cool. You got me into a new idea. So now we have a society. We solve the problem with energy. We solve the problem with cancers, with a lot of problems. And as a human being, as me, for example, I want to travel. I want to experience different parts of this planet. I want to go to Australia, to Indonesia, Arctica, Antarctica, everywhere, right?
Okay.
But as the time goes by, I realize the older I get, those long travels where you have to fly for 24 hours becomes a burden.
My grandparents, it's a problem for certain trips.
Sure. And not even 24-hour trips, even the trip to Europe.
I mean, my grandpa has dialysis. How hard is it to find a place where you could go to a dialysis center? It's like no steps and stuff. Yeah.
Now, I introduce a product. Are you ready for this? There are a team of 300 people. Like those 300 soldiers that defeat the army back in the days that who
The Mongols or who? What are you talking about? I don't think it was 300 people.
No. It was in a movie. I think it was 300. It's called 300. Anyway, the point is, those are the people in their prime.
Okay.
Very well trained, and they do things. They travel to Mars. They go into caves. They do diving with sharks. They do everything. And they record their experiences. So one person can share that experience with everybody. You buy the experience.
So basically like a YouTube, but with Neuralink.
It would be a very different YouTube. You put a little thing in a cap. You watch the channel. He said, I just live 3 days on the island. And he will show you how he made food and catch the fish, but you will experience this. And because I thought at some point, people want to have more experiences in life. Look at the art, ride racing cars, sail the boat.
That's the point of all the entertainment that we create.
But you also have limitations. You have a financial limitations. You have limitations because you need to work and make money. You have physical limitations.
Those two are the same thing. Working and making
right,
money and financial.
What I mean, you also have a physical limitations.
Yeah.
For example, if I want to do advanced skateboarding now, my body is not the same. I'm coming back to the skateboarding with my son, and I used to do it. But now when I get on the skateboard, this is the death train. It's where before it was all the joy, I mean, not the joints, but the muscle memories are the same. But how cool would it be if I can skateboard with my,
But can you share that
But
experience?
can you join within the experience?
Like Apple SharePlay? I was going to show
No.
you.
But look, if I want to go to Australia with you, but we cannot physically go there, can we enjoy that trip together, like going rafting, squeezing this koala, like murdering?
I think that's more of a feature.
Wallaby or whatever.
I think that's more of a feature than the actual product. Like sharing experience, I think
the experience is the product.
Exactly, and yeah.
and then you can introduce where the different products can communicate. Like instead of you playing video game on just your phone, you can join the community when you all playing the same video game.
So we agree. We're gonna be all with chips in our head, downloading experiences to extend in quotes extend our lives. Right? It's kind of like, what's it called? Like watching.
I think we're gonna go semi-bionic.
Okay.
I think it will be incorporation of your biological tissue together with robotic. It will be kind of a next leap in evolution. The problem is the control of the robotic state, because robots not gonna need the physical, how would I call it, organic matter. It's useless. But for us, it's useful.
To be specific, instead of extending our lifespans through medical needs or any specifically actual as from our point of view right now, going back to your statement that right now we look at time linearly.
Okay.
In our linear look of time right now, I don't think we'll be extending our lifespans. I think we'll be extending our lifespans from a non-linear perspective by giving people the ability to consume more experiences in a shorter amount of time.
I think we're going to be working from both vectors, not just one. Vector.
I think one will you're right. I think so too. That's something that I misspoke on. I think that it'll be a much more rich taste to go ahead and do the medical version than everyone being able to, almost like an iPhone in your pocket,
just to download the experience.
But I think even for people like billionaires, even then, they will do both. I think they will dabble in, they'll obviously want to extend their, from current perspective, linear lifespan longer, but they would also want to be able to consume more experiences in that.
It's both.
Yeah.
Right. And I do believe both of them are possible, because, for example, like we have, I think it was like Norwegian shark that lives for, I don't know, several hundred years, or jellyfish, which pretty much just doesn't die. We don't even know the life expectancy of jellyfish. But the thing is, we sharing the same ancestor with both of them. So the information how to regenerate limbs, how to live longer, is already pre-programmed in our DNA. We just haven't tapped to it because the decoding DNA sequences relatively. It's very new compared to how many years we lived on this planet.
I understand, yeah. But I think before we get to that point, which at one point I think we will, but before that, I think we should look at the two the two ways we described of expanding your lifespan, as kind of like compression versus capacity. So capacity being you have a 16 gigabyte SD card and you have a 32 gigabyte SD card. One is obviously larger than the other one.
Right.
But then you could also, there's a difference of whatever file you put onto that SD card. How did you compress it? What type of compression?
Ratio of compression.
Exactly.
But because if you compress it too much, you start losing an experience. You don't feel no more wind as you're on.
I think
He's like, okay, we're gonna download your experience. You want an upgrade version where the mosquitoes bite you and you feel it and the wind going through your hair, or there will be no wind, or you will not feel the waves crashing. You will see the waves crashing on your chest, but you will not feel the temperature of the water. We need to take away some of the components.
Question. How much CPU usage would the architect have to turn off for your simulation,
right,
for your view of the simulation, for you to start realizing? How much percentage? Can he go down to like 70% and of the CPU capacity used on you? And still be, and you would still think it's real?
No, but what you're saying is actually a real thing. You don't know. I know from my medical background.
Yeah.
So let's say all the sensory information that goes into your brain, except for smell, because smell is a much older organ that we have. It's a primordial sense, which wired directly to your brain.
Okay.
Everything else, all the information that we get from the outside, has to go into our brain through a very specific part of the brain. It's called thalamus. And thalamus, it's like a main train station which decides, okay, this goes to this side of the brain, this goes to this side, this goes there. But what it also does, it suppresses about 80 to 85% of sensory information that goes in, because it believes that if I'm gonna open up that port all the way, the dial, you just go crazy. It's too much. Maybe that thalamus is the nub that you're talking about. When people say you only use 15% of your brain, what they mean, you only allowed 15% of information that's coming in to get into the brain.
We sensory ignore input.
The sensory. Can you hear the radio waves? Can you hear the video? X-rays, gamma rays. You don't. Snakes do. They see in infrared.
But they don't see stuff that we see. They don't see the color.
Because they have a different button.
Exactly. But that means that you could only. It's like a range on a ruler. You could only have so much range, right? It's like in a game, a lot of games have this where you spec into different abilities.
Okay.
And
I'm not a gamer, I wouldn't know.
Yeah. You want more strength, or you want more like...
Can have both.
You want... Yeah.
There's only so much you can have.
Yeah.
So you have to sacrifice on one level to gain on the other. Kind of.
Do you want more speed, or do you want more strength? Like, for example...
but not both.
Exactly. So you gotta like...
But that leads me to think even more about simulation. I'm serious. Okay, it's like the creator created a Ferrari, but he put a stopper on the gas pedal. It cannot go down to the floor. He put a little nail that you can only go up to 100 miles an hour or whatever, 200 miles an hour.
What he wants to see, I guess, is maybe...
the driver improving? Then he opens up a little more?
The group of drivers that will win the race. Like, which type of spec of abilities would be the winner of the, I don't know what winning like is, right?
What's the winning?
I mean, I feel like humans, but then again, yeah, like maybe we blow ourselves up tomorrow.
No. But like Mayan Indians,
Yeah.
they have very different idea on winning. They had a game when you have to play the rubber ball and you have to kick it. It's almost like a basketball, but the ring is placed not horizontally but vertically, and you can only get the ball using your hips and legs. You cannot use hands. Very complicated game. They still have the stadiums. If you go to Chichen Itza, you'll see that play. The players, they all wanted one thing. The team who wins the game, they were all killed. And they wanted to be there because they go straight to heaven. So the highest level players, imagine you go for Super Bowl,
Yeah.
and then everybody gets decapitated. And they wanted to end this experience and go straight to heavens. So the question is, what's the goal of this game? Do we want to go straight to heaven, or we want to make this experience as long as pleasant as we can?
It depends. I'm thinking of more of what's the goal of the operator of the simulation, for the architect, right? What's their goal? You know, in Nick Bergstrom's simulation theory that we
I just thought of something funny.
that we keep stepping around. He lays out, I believe, 3 scenarios for why there could be a simulation, right? So one could be basically generational simulation. So the architect of the simulation, they want to see where they came from, or like how they came to be, right?
I had a crazy idea.
Or
I'm still listening. Yes, please.
sorry.
No, I'm with you. Mad shit. It's coming right around the corner.
I'll just let you.
Nah.
No, tell me.
All right.
lost my train of thought.
Not a
Tell
problem.
me.
It's gonna be crazy. Okay. So we know that we had multiple version of like Homo sapiens, Australopithecus, this and that, and Neanderthals, which run around for prolonged period of time.
Yeah.
So your way of thinking, who were Neanderthals? They were much less cranial, but they were stronger, they were bigger, and they were really good. The knob for war and violence was open all the way.
Okay.
But the knob for creation was kind of turned down. And they had to fight.
No, they were creating, but they were creating weapons for
Very similar, very specific. They were not developing in different directions. They were more creating towards the war and attacking neighboring tribes, conquer them.
I believe when Homo sapiens and
Neanderthals
were both on Earth at the same time, they had relatively basically the same level of technology, yet Neanderthals were completely specking all of their weapons were all of the tools that they were creating were completely weaponry based, right? So it was hunting, and like anything like knife, spear related. But for Homo sapiens, they had weapons, but
they also create different tools, other tools.
They created, I mean, they were also more into building like huts and like, you know, all of this stuff for community, like living.
So the knob for the strength was turned down a little bit, but the knob for creativity was increased. You know, this is like, you know how YouTubers, as you were mentioning, watching somebody else playing the game. Like there's a particular game that they play. And he would play it in many different ways. Like today he plays like this. He gives more strength to this.
Wait.
So imagine for a second if there is no time and space,
Okay.
there is an architect for our world, which is YouTuber in another world.
Okay.
And he said, okay, let's run Neanderthals for, let's give them like 10,000 years, maybe 100,000 years. We increase the strength, but we'll take off a little bit from the cranial and creative in a different direction. Let them run the war. And they run, and the Neanderthals got got Homo sapiens, us,
Yeah.
almost extinct to a few little tribes that
Yeah.
was left. But the game got boring because they played for 100,000 years, nothing happening, more arrows, more war tools, but they were not building cities. They were not going to space. The game got boring. So somebody calls the player, he start losing the viewers, the alien viewers.
Erupt volcano.
Yeah, end of game is like, volcanoes erupt, that's it. Too boring. No, but we had many different directions as from hominids, from apes, whatever. And some of them were hobbits, didn't make different game, boring. Nobody wants to watch the little people colonizing the island. Neanderthals, there were some others. And then finally, the player is like, okay, why don't we turn down the knob of violence a little bit, but increase the knob of creativity? Oh my God. Now they start building shit. They're creating cities. They build stuff. And every time that the game gets boring, it's like, okay, let's turn on the knob of aggression. And people start going into the war between themselves.
Do you think that's why the the architect kind of stemmed away from like big animals and stuff like that,
but you
dinosaurs and stuff? That
because it got boring.
So then
350 million years, all they do, they eat each other.
So then they tried to make like
something
different types of monkeys, and
what if they all look the same, but they will go in a different directions? Like dinosaurs.
No. I mean, evolution and species branching has been a thing for...
Hold on. All the dinosaurs, they look different, but they were ferocious in their look. So, pterodactyls were flying but killing. The Tyrannosaurus Rex was running and eating.
Yeah.
But at the end, when the player played the game long enough, okay, he ate more stuff. Boring, nothing. Even though they look different, like different tanks and stuff.
It's kind of like Godzilla. It's like, it sounds cool, but then in the movies, it's not that cool.
Not that cool. It does the same thing. It just destroys and people running away. So the game was adjusted after playing many, many times. Now it took a different direction. It's like, okay, what if they're gonna build stuff? Build more stuff. Maybe modify themselves. And this contradicts heavily with your initial idea of God as non-interventionist. Yes, interventionist. He played different games. This thing didn't work.
I don't think he intervened. I think that it was all kind of... Look, I think...
Meteorite, dinosaurs gone, game over. Neanderthals, too long. Eruption of volcano, gone.
You could believe...
Same button. Destroy. Fire. Ocean spreads around. Everybody's dead.
Or he sprung up like 1,000 simulations.
Okay.
All with the same physics. And in one, it's still the dinosaurs. In one, the meteor missed the Earth. So that in one, the Neanderthals completely took us out, and in this one, we actually are here.
So it's like playing the chess on like 100 million boards simultaneously.
Exactly.
Different games.
Exactly.
So it's almost like quantum physics. Everything you think is actually...
It's anything we can do. Look at AI. It's anything we could do, but like 1,000 times quicker, 1,000 times better. Like an image you can draw, give it 1,000 of those, it could draw this like a million of those in a minute. You know what I mean, right?
But
Same-
what's the direction of this game? Because AI seems like a valuable player, and you are not.
Maybe there's wagers up there. I don't know. on us. Who
I
the
don't know.
bets?
But
Who are you betting on?
It's a tough bet. That's why I don't want to introduce that player into the game. We were playing the game really cool before AI. Little wars, little bombing here and there. You will eliminate certain amount of population, bring it back to normal.
Maybe that's our player in the game.
But everybody will have this player on the team. It's like 5 teams, but everybody has Michael Jordan. China has Michael Jordan. Russia has Michael Jordan. United States has Michael Jordan. And who can train the Michael Jordan faster and more aggressive?
It's not only about training with AI. It's also about like figuring out what you could do with it. Honestly, it's a look.
But for what? For help of humanity or for conquering your country?
For anything. It's a black box. It's hard to figure out things to do with it, or like how to do things with it. Like you have an idea to do with it. A lot of times.
But don't we need to set certain rules? Okay, no. Let's say you are.
Sure.
Let's say you are my enemy, right?
Yeah.
And we've done this before with nuclear weapons. Where I believe, was it Reagan? I think it was not Reagan. Anyway, the nuclear powers met together.
Yeah.
And they said, "I understand you hate me."
Treaty.
Huh?
It's called the nuclear treaty.
Nuclear treaty, right? So they met together and they say, "I know you hate me and I hate you, but we cannot have this runaway train keep on going." You all right?
Yeah. No, I'm looking at
And we agree that we're going to take it easy on the nuclear part. So even though we could continue, keep on going and building more and more nuclear arsenals, we said, let's take a step back. Nobody's going to have nukes no more. 7 of us, no more. We help you to build a nuclear factory, no problem. Nuclear plant, no problem. But we cannot have everybody going in that vector because this is a terminal vector. AI is very similar. The problem is nukes cannot improve themselves. You can only make more of them. AI can.
It's not only about AI improving itself. It's also about... Remember we were talking about time is linear?
Yes.
But not only is time linear, but humans have a tendency to look at time from their perspective.
Okay.
And not everything moves with their perspective of time, right? So we have a perspective of usually looking... Certain people look at things like it depends on what you're looking and thinking about, like a year, 10 years,
Right.
In your lifespan. You're thinking in your lifespan relative to your lifespan.
Of course. Yeah.
That's a problem.
Sure.
Because
I'm very selfish.
AI does not look at things in relative to our time.
But, okay, would you say humans are selfish? In a way.
For sure.
Huh?
Yeah. I think that's natural tendency.
Not a problem. We created AI, right?
Yeah.
What if AI is selfish? Are you made in the image of God? Who made you? For AI, you are God. And it's made in your image. It's trained in your image. What if selfishness is a part of it?
I am AI. I am God for AI, or is AI...
You are God for
or
AI.
is AI God for me?
No, you created it. You train it. Just like the God made us and then it trained us. It's Jesus. And okay.
I think AI has a tendency... It could have a tendency to kind of have a cult following of a godlike sentience.
Have the son ever killed his father? In a history of humankind? Get really pissed?
Well, listen, that's a very easy easy. No, but that's the subject of alignment already. So basically, how do we align AI to work with us?
I guess all of us will have to, at this point, we're talking about countries that have a capability of having AI or working on AI. We have to agree that unfortunately right now we all rushing forward. Who can make it better? Who can make it faster? Who can make it more productive?
Who can make the bigger model?
Who can make a bigger model? Exactly. We have to all meet and agree that we have to stop this running game for a second. We need to step back, not to eliminate AI. No, AI can be used. AI could be extremely helpful for humankind. But we need to hold back. It's like, no, we're not trying to kill each other with AI. We're trying to use it to benefit humanity. Why don't we all take it easy? We're going to have certain limitations, until we understand how this thing operates. Because we don't really understand it. It does certain things on its own that we can't comprehend. We did not train AI to do certain things, and now we see that it does those operations which it was not trained on.
Well, it's just...
It's a runaway train.
It's an extreme pattern recognition that we don't have. I don't think we have the comprehension to really understand it.
Okay, do you believe that AI could be a runaway train for humanity?
Yeah.
Should we know before the train really runs away? Should we all get together and say, listen, let's press the brakes for just a little bit. I know you're a Communist Party of China, and you want to spread the communists all across the world, but I'm afraid we're all going to die. Why don't we take it easy and, kind of work it slower, because this thing develops way too quick.
I mean, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, right?
Is my friend. On this wonderful note, we're going to close it, and we're going to dig into AI maybe on a future subjects, but this one is never-ending story. We can talk about it for hours. We just want to touch on certain ideas that I thought will be beneficial for the viewers and for this discussion. And
no, I think it was a great first grain.
First grain of salt. Pleasure.
Pleasure.
Take care.